And we are live. Welcome, 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 welcome everybody to this week's edition of the IRWP. It's Real Wrestling Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We had a little bit of a hiatus this week, but we promise you, as you saw, we tweeted out, we're investing into the brand, investing into the podcast. We have some pretty exciting stuff coming up. I'm your boy Ben Goosen. My partner in crime is with us. What up, Sage?
You know, man, I'm a Pone Tony. Got my dillies on the Peppertine.
We had a good week in wrestling, man. Let me tell you something. I took off work Monday, and I planned on playing Madden. Madden just came out. I planned on playing Madden all day, but couldn't. So something had come up. Couldn't play. So I watched TV all day, and I watched the Mae Young Classic. I legit binged watched. How many episodes were there total?
There was 8 episodes to the finals, and then I think it's 9 total with the finals. So 9 episodes.
So I watched 6, 7, 8 of them. I watched a lot. I watched the whole thing. I watched all but the first 2. And man, I got to tell you, it was better than I thought. I knew I was texting you and I was saying, man, I like the gimmicks behind these girls. It's not just Sage the Mark or Benjina Goosen from Texas or anything like that. Like they legit had some background to them. They gave some quick background, told you, what their gimmick was. Man, Piper was legit. Love seeing her in the ring, and the main event was perfect because it was the 2 people you wanted to see. The Mae Young Classic, A+ overall. What do you think? You're the one doing those stellar reviews, son. What you think?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it myself. I was very high on Dakota Kai. Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane was a wonderful match. Y'all go check out that review that we have on the podcast, because that match was stellar. Probably the best match of the entire tournament, in my opinion. But you're right. Overall, I gave it a A+. If you slept, and I'm going to give you guys this up front. I'm not going to say anything unless you guys go listen to the review. I'm going to give you guys a little Easter egg, because if you watched the preview to the finals that the WWE did, so it's technically it would be episode number 9. Triple H comes out and he addresses subtly. He addresses the CWC issue, controversy.
What was the issue?
Whether or not it was worth it.
Okay.
Y'all go check that out. There was a great 3-on-3 match that they had in that one too, which I think if you haven't seen it, which I'm guessing you haven't, Goose, go and watch that, because that match was pretty.
Well, I knew they'd have a token 3-on-3 match because that's how it is with the Cruiserweight division. But yeah, the Mae Young Classic was legit. For those of y'all listening, if you haven't had a chance, go check out. Sage Mark did his own personal review of the Mae Young Classic from start to finish. Those will be uploaded. Go ahead and check those out. We've had some really great interaction on those. They are on our YouTube channel. So if you go to type in It's Real Wrestling Podcast, probably the easiest way to find it on YouTube. It'll pop right up. So go check those out. You'll hear our review, what we really, 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 really think on it. Sage Mark did an excellent job on it. You'll hear his thoughts, opinions. It represents both of us. It was just an overall success. And Ray is getting an NXT title shot. Women's Championship shot. Thoughts?
Who's getting a title shot?
Kylie Ray?
Kylie Ray?
Wait,
like our Kylie Ray?
No, wait.
Wait, when did she make her debut? When did she make her debut in the WWE, man?
Wait a minute. I knew that was going to happen. I'm getting her confused. I'm getting her name confused because we interviewed her on the podcast, and she's a two-time reality of wrestling based out of Houston, Booker T's promotion, two-time champion there, and the only women's two-time champion. I'm getting her confused with the winner of the Mae Young Classic, who will be getting an NXT title shot here in Houston, Survivor Series. So thoughts?
So first off, we need to check in with Kylie Ray and see how she's doing, because it's been almost a year since we last interviewed her, and it would be definitely good to get her on the podcast. That being said, this is the first that I've ever heard that Kyrie Sane is getting a interview or getting a actual title match. Two things: one, what brand is she getting the match, and two, where did you hear this rumor? Because I haven't heard anything.
I heard it from Deshaun Kaiser. He's the starting quarterback of your broke Cleveland Browns. Actually, the Browns showed up last week. We'll go off a little bit into some football. We'll go off into football. We'll go off into football, wrestling, MMA, sports, gaming, IT, tech, security, you name it. We'll go off in anything. Your Browns showed up last weekend. So real quick, I meant to start off the show with that. Let's give props to the Cleveland Browns. Y'all showed up. Isaiah Crowell showed up. Y'all played great against Pittsburgh. It turned into the Antonio Brown show, but y'all shut down Le'Veon Bell. So that defense showed up. Deshaun Kaiser didn't do awful at all. And there is some social media footage of what Sage the Mark does the opening day of Browns games days, opening day of football.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Yeah, I don't want to see that.
So,
I better quickly go and delete that.
Yeah. So not Kylie Ray, but Kyrie Sane is going to be fighting, and I don't know if it's going to be a triple threat, fatal four-way, or what, but she is fighting in Houston the weekend of Survivor Series. Survivor Series is in Houston, by the way, for the NXT Women's Championship that was recently vacated by Asuka. So, thoughts? What do you think? Should she have been called up to the main roster? Raw, SmackDown, or NXT?
From a wrestling perspective, I think she would be great on the main roster, but I don't think, like, Shinsuke is just barely getting over with the crowd. It seems to be dying down just a little bit. I honestly think that what's his name from the CWC?
TJ
Tozawa.
Perkins?
Tozawa. I think Tozawa is more over than Shinsuke is, to be honest with you. So, which you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So, I think since we have Asuka coming out right now, I think it's a little bit too much to have such a high presence for Japanese talent on the main roster. So NXT, I'm okay with. I'll give her some development from a character standpoint. I love her character, but I just don't think the casual market will take too kindly to it right now. I think it's just too much too soon. Although I will say that the crowd reaction on Tuesday to the tournament was almost deafening, which was a great sign. So, so
I'm going to disagree with you that if you're going to sit here on our keyword wrestling podcast and tell me that Tozawa is more over than Nakamura, you're way off. But I could see where you're going with it just because I'm a huge Nakamura fan, but you're right. The songs really aren't, when he comes out, unless they're in a Mark City, the theme song isn't sung anymore. It's almost like the kind of magic is gone. But I mean, he's still winning huge matches, beating Randy Orton, beating John Cena in what, like a month and a half? We talked about it the other week. So, Nakamura's?
I'm not saying that he's not over in the back, but I'll give you a good example, man. we all know how dead the CWC is in terms of the crowd reactions from most of the matches, right?
Oh yeah.
If you compare the crowd reaction for a Tozawa match versus a in the CWC, not on Raw, but on the CWC versus a Shinsuke Nakamura match in on SmackDown, which is the main roster, I guarantee it, man. There is more crowd reaction for Tozawa than there is for Shinsuke Nakamura.
Wait,
For
so you're saying,
taking the song out of it, just taking the song out of it, the crowd is actually more into Akira Tozawa in most cities than they are Shinsuke Nakamura. Just watch the
wait,
matches.
are you talking about Tozawa on Raw or on CWC?
No, on CWC, and I'm giving you that comparison for CWC because one, they're basically the same crowds. Raw, I mean for SmackDown and the CWC, but
Right.
two, there's less people on CWC, but they're giving more interaction to Tozawa than a full crowd is giving to Shinsuke Nakamura.
So
You have to go see it
uh,
because you
uh,
don't watch the CWC.
no, but I have been to a CWC live, and
I
gotta
wasn't on
admit, it
that
was
CWC live.
no, he wasn't. This week on oh man, hope I'm not gonna ruin it for you. There was a nice heel turn, so I did catch up a little bit this week on the cruiserweight division, and yeah, old Jack Gallagher turned heel. It's
Yeah, I heard.
it seems like they're turning people heel and face just to kind of spark the interest. You know what? I was just about to say I think it's dumb that they're doing it just to spark the interest, but guess what? We're talking about it. Kudos to you, WWE. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a shout out there. I'm gonna give the WWE a shout out. It's not my main shout out of the week. Main shout out of the week comes to a dude with had blood pouring out of his head this week on TV. Old ass man sitting on TV, blood pouring out of his head, which we'll get to in a little bit because that's the highlight of the show. That was the highlight of wrestling by far this week. So, are we noticed? Okay, there's got to be something to be said. This one thing I noticed in watching Kairi Sane fight is she can sell great, and she can sell even. So we know there's Dolph Ziggler's, Asuka's who can sell a move, Shawn Michaels, AJ Styles. There's all these people who could sell. But if you can sell your offense as well, that's huge too. So like, think about it. Kairi saying that elbow drop. I've never been in a wrestling ring. I don't know anything about wrestling ring, but that looks like it legit hurts her. Like if I jumped off of anything and fell, it looks like it hurts. And when she, well, it probably didn't hurt her as much when she landed on the what's the girl's name that whips her hair? She has the hair whip.
Oh yeah, Bianca Belair.
Yeah, poor
That match
girl.
was so great, bro.
I'll shut up about it because Sage he's got some shows he's gonna
Y'all,
be.
the
Oh
reviews. Go watch the reviews. That's all I'm saying. Y'all go watch the reviews and then go on to the network and watch the show and then come back and watch the review and leave a comment on it. Let
yeah,
us know. Let
please
me know
do.
how far out. Just let me know.
So a great week in wrestling. I thought this was a pretty good week in wrestling. Raw was. I thought the main event was kind of. I thought it was kind of lacking. What was it? The Hardy Boys, Sheamus, Cesaro, your boys, the Bullet Club that they've been Gallows and Anderson. Who I mean, they had a ton of talent in the ring, but here's what I think happened. There's something that happened on Monday night, and it was the kickoff. And I'm definitely not going to say the games were any good. It was Monday Night Football. So if you notice, the John Cena Braun Strowman match conveniently happened around halftime or around dead time, and I think the late game was the Saints Vikings game. Conveniently happened around kind of a slow time in football, so they planned for it. I like what they did because it wasn't just John Cena jobbing. You know what I mean? I thought John
Yep.
Cena was going to come in. I text you or maybe a buddy of mine, and said, wow, Cena's got a month left in the WWE. He's going to leave, maybe do Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and call it a day. Is when there is John Cena going to be in the WWE this time next year?
No. I honestly I can't see him being here for like it seems like he's legit trying to put people over or try to make stars out of people. I mean, there's still so many more people I would like to see him wrestle with, but I mean, I'm fine with AJ fighting them. I'll give you that, but I will say, like, you know, I'm so enjoying what he's doing to Roman Reigns. I don't. I am. I'm not even gonna lie. It's not like I don't. It's not like I hate Roman Reigns or anything like that because I don't. I just. But it's just. It's so much fun, man. I'm just enjoying it. Like, I. The, this is a question I wanted to pose to you, man. With all the shoots that have been going on in the last 3 weeks on both brands, I feel as though that the WWE is getting it. That they, in order for them to be successful, they have to appease to both the marks and the casuals. And I'm wondering if you think that they finally get this formula and are starting to do that. Like, do you even think that's a thing?
Yes, but only if you take the marks out of it. So the marks, and is it okay when we say marks? Is it okay if the IWC Internet Wrestling Community? Are we going to say that for the sake of argument here, IWC and the marks are the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. So I think the IWC and the marks, I've said it before, it's such a minimal part, 10, 15% tops, of your wrestling fan. And maybe it'll grow. I don't know. Maybe it will because social media is all online, is all quote unquote internet. So maybe it'll grow, but I don't think the WWE needs to do it to appease the marks. But I think the WWE does it and it works out well and they're finally getting it. You're not watching sports on TV, or maybe your routine shows like The Walking Dead or uh, Game of Thrones. It's pretty much all reality TV. So at any given point, you already know someone's personal life and what they're doing and all that good stuff. There's no secrets anymore. Roman Reigns failed a drug test. John Cena called him out. Is that really that bad? No. Everybody in the world knows Roman Reigns failed a drug test. WWE put it on their website. So it's part of bringing realism. If you notice wrestlers these days that debut, they all use real names. John Cena, Roman. It's not their real name, but they're using real names. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, all that stuff. So I just think it adds to the realism and plays into the reality of wrestling because nothing is secret anymore, and fans these days are okay with wrestlers being actors. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, if you saw Hulk Hogan in public, he'd say, "Oh yeah, I'll sign this, brother. Take your vitamins, say your prayers at night." You'd stay in character because kayfabe was still there. It's not anymore. So people are cool with these guys being actors. They're cool with Rusev bashing America on TV this week, but being on Up Up Down Down tomorrow morning, playing Madden or something like that, or Street Fighter. So people just get it. So I think it's great for the product. It's it's definitely working for the Miz, and I don't know, man. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I don't think they're doing it to appease or because of the marks or the IWC. I think that they just know we could use reality in doses because not every single feud uses reality like Cena and Reigns. Matter of fact, they save it for highlight spots like Miz and Enzo. Actually, Miz and anybody he talks to. But matter of fact, look at Talking Smack. Like if you look at some of the best promos on Talking Smack, it was because they were real. They were shoot promos. Matter of fact, yeah, that's kind of what they were. They were shoot promos. And back in the day, shoot promos used to be sold on DVDs and VHSs and stuff like that. But now you could put them on TV. And there is no such thing as DVD sales and VHS sales because everything's online. So if the WWE can do their own shoot promos, by all means, do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. To me, it's the evolution of what professional wrestling is. During the golden era, it was more of the larger than life kind of things, characters, and then the attitude slash NWO was more about like rebellion. That's what was getting things over. And then we had the dark ages, where nothing was fitting. They were trying to fit every little thing in and just wasn't fitting. And then now we're getting the shoot era. I mean, that's what I think is. It's basically the shoot era where you're getting more realism, or more storylines based on real things, real events, and things of that nature. And I think it's fantastic. I think it works. There's no better way to create new storylines than basing things off of real stuff that actually happens. I mean, go ask Law and Order, the Panty Police, because
Great point.
they have like
Great
20
point.
seasons right now because of that.
Great point. Have you seen the Law and Order drinking game, by the way? Did I ever show
I
you
have
that?
no. They have a drinking game.
Yeah, yeah. My friend, who I've been as a guest on the podcast. Every time I ask my friend Daniel to be a guest on the podcast, he always says, "No, I need more time to prep." Meanwhile, he's going to ROHs and wrestle circuses and all that stuff. I need to get him on, but he showed me the drinking game for Law and Order, and yeah, it's pretty good. Every time it like the dun dun sound is there, you take a drink. Every time Ice-T says that's messed up, you take a drink. And there's all this other stuff. Just Google it. It's great. But those were the main things. But you mentioned something a second ago. You mentioned that it's the shoot era, which is a great way to put it. So it got me to thinking one of the catalysts, the key points to kick off the shoot era was definitely Bret Hart's old promos, but that's kind of going back, 15, 20 years. That was more controversial at the time and partial, it was shoot, but more controversial. Yeah. One of the things that kicked off the shoot era was CM Punk's pipe bomb promo.
I mean, I definitely think it was a catalyst. I mean, to be honest with you, I think people started getting more into it when Ultimate Warrior was shooting on Hogan right after his first scandal. Went pretty crazy because it was like almost a weekly thing for almost like 2 months straight, and they were great. And then I think there might have been like a 4 or 5 year gap in between to lead into the pipe bomb. So yeah, I mean, it's a good catalyst. I think the pipe bomb is probably what resonates with most casual fans, seeing as though that happened on live TV.
So Steve and Thatch, welcome. For those of y'all that listen live, we do this live, unedited, unscripted on YouTube. Granted, when you listen here to the audio, it really is just a cleaned up version of what we're talking about. So Stephen Thatch brings up a good point. He says he thinks it's Brock because Brock kind of blurred the lines of reality because he is a real athlete. He is a real heavyweight champion straight out of the UFC. He is a real NCAA champion. He is a real WWE champion. So that's a great point. I definitely think Brock is one of the catalysts for it. You said something earlier, and it's gotten me to thinking. So something I think that is prevalent today is there's a lot of guys who get over in the WWE who don't have the larger than life look. Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan is almost the definition of it, so, as well as Kevin Owens. There's these guys that get over who are just amazing in the ring. Shinsuke Nakamura, all these people are just great in the ring, and they're great for the wrestling industry. They're great for the wrestling product, but they're not larger than life. They're not these big, 6'1" to 6'5" and up. I think Hogan's like 6'6", 6'7". He's a big dude. They're not these big, extremely muscled out guys. Yeah, he's a tall guy and he's a big guy. So would you say WWE always needs to have one larger than life superstar to maintain and headline the shows? And I'm going off of history here. Roman Reigns is, kind of the front man of the WWE's. Just a big guy. He's gotten way better in the ring, but he's just a big, big Samoan dude. He's not short. He's not, Daniel Bryan might be what, 5'10", 5'9", or something like that. John Cena, he's 6 foot something and just jacked, and he transcends the WWE because he's big in the mainstream media. The Rock, big dude. Ultimate Warrior, big dude. Hulk Hogan, big dude. Does the WWE need these 6'1" to 6'7" guys that are just jacked and built up?
Man, so
Always. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good question. I don't know if the formula. I mean, I guess the answer to the question is yes, they do need it, but it's only because they haven't really tried it the other way around. I mean, I think that they did try to do it with CM Punk and it was working, but because of everything that was going on backstage, I think that that kind of sullied it. I think that if CM Punk was on good terms with the WWE and the pipe bomb never happened, I honestly think that we could have, for the first time, had a era where we wouldn't have to have a big man, quote unquote, on the show. But um, once he left, the game plan was to make Roman Reigns the larger than life character. And then when they felt that he wasn't resonating as that larger than life character, that he couldn't go out to interviews and all that other stuff, they had to get somebody else to fill that role, which was pretty much Braun Strowman. Um, so, and Braun can talk. That's the thing. Braun can
Good
talk.
point. Great point. So you think Braun's got the potential, not saying he's definitely going to be it, but he's got the potential to be that next big superstar?
I do. I mean, I honestly do. Look, he's a big dude who's fast, who's agile, who's believable as a badass, who can talk on the mic. Oh yeah, and he can also rap. If you guys didn't know that, y'all go check out his YouTubes. Um,
He's
like
a
the
notorious Big fan, by the
he's
way.
exactly. He has the ability, like he he could be the next Hogan if they do it correctly. And that's saying a lot. Like they could market this guy as the next Hogan, but they're really doing that to Roman Reigns, and it's not working. So it, I think that we won't see a change like that until there's a changing of the guards in management. And by that, I'm saying that, you know, Mr. McMahon steps down.
See, I don't think that the world is ready to see. I hate to bring this up because he's so talented. I the non-wrestling world, the mainstream media, isn't ready to get behind a guy with a body like Kevin Owens, or because it's never had a guy with a body of the size and shape of CM Punk. Like these guys are so talented in the wrestling world, but it's so difficult to break the mold. And these guys are amazing guys, but they just can't break that mold. We talked the other, I think a couple shows ago about who has the capability to be that next big breakout star. And we ruled out Shinsuke Nakamura because of the language barrier and a couple of others. And it's just WWE maintains mainstream popularity when they have that mainstream star. I'll be honest, Roman Reigns got the look for it. If I held up a bunch of pictures and photographs to you and said, pick a guy with the look, he kind of looks like Aquaman. So he's got the look. So I think WWE wants and needs to have that John Cena, that Stone Cold, that Rock, that Hulk Hogan that they could lean on to guarantee to sell out stadiums and guarantee to sell a bunch of merch. But once Cena's gone, we've talked about it. I just don't know who it's going to be. I can't
Yeah,
wait to find out. I'm excited as a fan.
but right now, man, they're not worried about selling out crowds like that. I don't think that that's their main objective anymore. Their main objective is really the network and expanding globally. Like that's their whole thing. That's why they're making such a heavy push on the Japanese market and in the India market, to expand their WWE network, to expand their
Great
brand.
point.
That that's the and I kind of equate it to the movies. You know that what's a very bad movie?
The Pest.
The the Pest. So the Pest probably did terrible, horrible in the U.S., but I guarantee that it sold millions and millions and millions more overseas. That's the trend. Any bad movie that bombs here, for some reason, is great in Europe and in Japan, and that's kind of the formula that I think that the WWE is going for. The money isn't here in the U.S. Like we're going to give them the money regardless. The money really is coming from overseas. It's a global play.
So maybe The Pest wasn't a good example because that was just a pretty rough movie. But Godzilla, the remake, made more money internationally, I believe, than it did make here in the States. I think that I think you're right. I think that I think WWE is thinking long term here with the network. Essentially, they're thinking, I mean, eventually, maybe once the TV deal is up, they may become something similar like a Netflix type thing where you just maintain interest, but it's harder to build stars. It's funny to think, well, if WWE wasn't on TV and it was just on the network, will they only have the marks and only have the diehard wrestling fans? No, because it's like Netflix or anything else. Once you get a popular TV show on or some popular content going, everybody will start watching and subscribing, especially cable and stuff. So I think I don't know. I think that WWE likes to have, and personally, I think they need to have that big, larger than life character that can show up on Saturday Night Live or go get a non WWE movie role. And the only person they have for that is pretty much John Cena right now. But I digress because we kind of got off topic. I think that just to put the nail in the coffin, Cena will not, and I agree with you, Sage, 100%. Cena will not be. He'll be very part of the part time a year from now, and by that I mean just as much as The Rock. The Rock shows up at random WrestleManias, rock bottom somebody, and that's kind of the end of it. And I think that because Cena has nothing left to prove, dude is the man. It doesn't matter if he fights Bobby Roode. That's not really a dream match. Like, my point behind that is being all the big up and coming NXT graduates, or the guys who go from NXT to the main roster. There's not really the interest to see him fight John Cena because John Cena's done his thing for so long. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? So we're getting our dream matches of Cena and Braun Strowman, Cena and Roman Reigns out of the way, Cena and Nakamura, the two biggest international superstars. So I don't think he'll be around much longer. And he's got a busy schedule from, I guess he's got Transformers coming up and dude's going into movies and all that stuff. And yeah, granted, he's got a marriage to Nikki Bella coming up too. And speaking of married couples, we had a married couple this week on Raw with a huge announcement before a insanely insulting promo. Shout outs to The Miz and Maurice. If y'all really having a kid, then Sage and I have kids. They're awesome. We're fans. Congrats if you're playing us for a storyline.
It's
Got
real,
us.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. Because I was the same exact way, man. I thought that like I was like, yeah, congratulations, because with the Cena feud about the blanks and all that other stuff, and then I was like, damn, and then he went right into that promo on Enzo. I was like, yo, man, if they con us, that's gonna be insane. Like that would be crazy. But he posted like a real long letter on his Instagram. It was really good. Y'all go check it out. Uh, and it's real. It is, and it would explain why we don't see Maurice being more physical, because we've always questioned why she wouldn't get in the ring. It's very light stuff, and they could have been trying for months and stuff, and then they just finally got pregnant. So um, I'm hoping that we'll still be able to see Maurice for at least another 3 months before she, can no longer fit those leather tight clothes and
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah. So congratulations to the Miz and Maurice. Miz is. Can we? What is it? September? Mike Skills of the Year award
For
when we do
sure.
our December episode of the IRWP awards. There, there's yeah, Miz, it's yours to lose. I'll just say that. It's
Yeah, man.
yours to
He
lose.
he is definitely one of three people that are for wrestler of the year.
Yeah, he's up there. To be honest with you, that award may end up going to AJ Styles again. Just dude, I was talking to Dobby Amore, and he asked me Sunday. We went and watched football for opening weekend. He said, "Hey, well, that AJ Styles could be the best of all time. That he could that he's better than Shawn Michaels and is the official, because Shawn Michaels is universally top 3 to 4 in everybody's top list, or at least should be.
Not mine. Top 10, not top 5.
How is Shawn Michaels not in your top 5 of best of all time?
Because he's not a great wrestler, man. He's a good
What are you talking
entertainer.
about? Are
Matches are
you serious?
terrible. Yes. Dude, there's no way that he is we've debated this already, man. There is there is no way that that man is better than AJ Styles. There is no way that that man is better than Bret Hart. There is no way that that guy is better than Kurt Angle. There is no way that he is better than uh Undertaker. Like those are already four people, which would put him at 5 at the very least. And I could probably
Undertaker's
name one more person that's over there.
Undertaker's not. He's top 10. He's bet. Shawn Michaels is better than Undertaker because
Ric
Undertaker's
Flair.
biggest.
There we go. I got Ric Flair in my top 5, man. There's no way he's in the top 5, man.
How do you not put Shawn Michaels in your top 5?
Because he's a great entertainer. You guys are mesmerized by how entertaining he is in the ring. Y'all are too busy seeing him shake his little tail to actually see that he's not that great of a wrestler, man. Like he's not. He's a great entertainer, man. He's known for three things in his entire life: for putting Marty Jannetty into the window, okay, for forming DX, and for singing his own theme song, and that's it. Okay.
So let me ask you this then. You said he's a great entertainer. So what's the name of the company again?
It's World Wrestling Federation, which is what he was in. World Wrestling Federation. Okay.
Dude, so okay, so I'll give you this. The only thing I'll give you when it comes to the top 5 is that prior to him super kicking Marty Jannetty through the window, which was in San Antonio, which I was actually at, by the way. Little known fact. I didn't see it happen. I remember being a kid. It was when I didn't know wrestling was taped.
Like 2.
No, dude. I think I was like 6, 7, 8. It was back when this is a complete
No.
San Antonio reference. Yeah, it was at the Hemisphere Arena. Remember that arena? The
Yeah, I
Hemisphere?
do. Before they
Yeah, it
tore
was
it
at the
down.
Hemisphere. And he kicked him, and it was before I remember specifically because he kicked him through the window, and I remember I was not paying attention at the time being, and I heard that glass break. I was like, "Oh shit, what happened?" I think I don't know, getting popcorn. I don't know. I was a kid at the time, but I was not paying attention. Janetti went through the glass, and I was like, "Man, ugh." And then it didn't air because shows were taped back then. And this is a totally true story. It didn't air for like a month. And I remember seeing it on TV on like Saturday morning wrestling or whatever and thinking, huh, damn, Janetti got kicked through that window twice. Dude should have learned the first time. I specifically remember it. And of course, it was a taped show. They were just airing it a month later or whatever. But no, that was here, man, at the
Still
Hemisphere
hasn't
Arena.
recovered.
Oh, yeah. So either which way, I'm saying Shawn Michaels prior to that moment wasn't great. He was in a tag team. And prior to the Razor Ramon ladder match, he doesn't have a lot of matches where you would say, "Oh yeah, I remember that one." And his best matches were when he was much older. But he was able to do everything. I'm gonna have to agree
Really?
to disagree.
Everything?
Yeah, his matches were great. Once
Bruh.
the mid
That
'90s
dude
and late
got
'90s
carried.
hit, he had a career
That
for
dude
like
got carried
15
more than a
years.
fireman carries somebody out of a fire.
How do you figure?
Because he
How did Shawn
did.
Michaels get carried?
Really?
Yeah.
The dude comes back in the last 2 minutes of his matches to win. He is not a general in the ring.
What do you?
What?
Okay, so
Name me a match where Shawn Michaels is actually the ring general. Let me know, because it ain't ever happened.
Shawn Michaels had a huge heel run. DX originally heels. He was a heel against Bret
Yes,
Hart, and he led those
yes.
matches against Bret Hart.
He did not lead those matches in the ring with Bret Hart. He led it on the mic. He sold the matches on the mic, and that's why he's the greatest entertainer of all time. But he is not the greatest wrestler of all time. Not even the top five.
Well, you putting Undertaker in the top five is terrible.
I'm just saying the Undertaker. He's probably in the five slot, but he's still a better wrestler than Shawn Michaels was.
So, would you agree, wrestler-wise, that AJ Styles is a better wrestler than Shawn Michaels ever was?
Hands down.
So, is Dolph Ziggler better than Shawn Michaels?
Hell yeah.
So that's another guy that you're kicking Shawn Michaels out of your top five
But
for or top six is Dolph Ziggler.
from a wrestling standpoint, yes, Dolph Ziggler is a better wrestler than Shawn Michaels. Now, I bet he a lot of Dolph Ziggler's moves are copy of Shawn Michaels, but that's telling you something if he can do it better than Shawn Michaels can. It, it just he's a better wrestler. He's not a better entertainer. He's getting close though, because those gimmicks, those gimmicks that Dolph is doing nowadays has got me going, man. But Shawn is the greatest entertainer. No one could ever take that away from Shawn Michaels. He is the greatest entertainer in the entire world from a professional wrestling standpoint. He's just not a better wrestler. He's
Okay,
just
so
not.
Shawn Michaels is up there with one of the greatest overall because overall is obviously what you can do on the mic and what you can do in the ring, right? So you'd say he's one of the top. Shawn Michaels is top five greatest overall.
He when we talking about wrestlers,
No, I'm
I'm
just saying
saying
overall.
wrestlers encompasses everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything.
It's the mic skills. It's the everything.
Top 10. He is not in my top five.
So would you put The Rock over Shawn Michaels? in your overall? Because we both know The Rock, as awesome as he is, was
He's not a great
90%
wrestler.
charisma and mic skills.
Yeah.
And he wasn't
The
horrible
Rock.
in the ring. He was good enough, but
No,
it was
but
big.
The Rock's era was different than Sean's run, his complete run. The Rock was more like that's where they really started to get into just more of the entertainment phase itself. So if I would say The Rock is one of the top 10 wrestlers, I'd probably put him outside of my top 10, but barely, maybe 11, maybe um, 9, 10, or 11. I think Shawn Michaels has The Rock beat overall just because his I think his storylines and his the what he brought to the table was a lot more than The Rock ever did.
I could see that. Okay. So, based off of the actions of this week, because we had a crazy weekend on SmackDown, where does Kevin Owens, what's his cap? Where do you think he'll end up, especially after this past week? Do you think he has the capability to crack your top 10? But they say in 5 years when his career's over, maybe 10 years. Do you think he can crack your top 10?
I think he could. I think he could edge out Shawn Michaels. I mean, he's already making a running, man. I mean, he is for a big guy, he's just as agile as him. He talks better on the mic than Shawn Michaels does. Um, like in the littlest time that he's been in the WWE, I think he's made more of an impact than Shawn Michaels has ever. Um, I would say in the
Interesting.
the next 5, 10 years he will, because Shawn Michaels, you have to remember Shawn Michaels is in WWE for like a total of 15 or 20 years, somewhere around there. His popularity didn't really start to really stick like the towards the end of his run. So like the latter half of his run, like when Bret Hart basically jumped ship, that's when Shawn Michaels really started to elevate, where you get the DX and where you got those great matches with The Undertaker. Um, I, yeah, I mean that's
So I could see that. I think Kevin Owens could go up there as one of the all-time greats. What'd you think of the Vince McMahon segment? Not gonna lie, 72. It, that was a wicked headbutt, wasn't it?
that was a great headbutt, man. I will say this, man. Titus O'Neil needs to put in a grievance or something because it's not fair that that guy got suspended for like 3 months when Owens definitely put a little
Oh,
bit more aggression to it, and he's still on TV. So yeah, Titus O'Neil, Titus Brand, y'all need to do something about that, man. Make that into a storyline right there. But yeah, that headbutt was so wicked. It was so great, and you can't fake that. Like you can't like. His hands were down to his side. I didn't see any type of skull cap that he was wearing. Like that was a legit busted open shot. And kudos to Vince McMahon for taking it, man. Like, I think that that's probably, uh, I think that that's the last that we're going to see um, him. I think that's his swan song. Is basically it. I think Mr. McMahon is no longer a character on TV anymore.
yeah, I loved it. I thought him getting roughed up, the frog splash. Because when you think 72 years old, you just think of somebody a bit fragile and stuff like that. And oh, but geez, it was a good ending. It's a good setup for the Shane McMahon Kevin Owens match. It's a really good setup, and that match will be. I don't know, it's going to be a good match. It's going to be better than Styles. I think it could be better than Styles and McMahon, just because Styles is kind of that natural face. AJ Styles is. Where's Mike Bennett at? Did I miss something? I don't follow the dirt
I
sheets at all. Did he piss in someone's Cheerios or something? What's the catch?
no, it's uh, I a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, he kind of made a statement on, I want to say it was on Instagram, um, basically to the effect of saying that he came in not quite in shape and allegedly, I can't remember exactly, but I think that there might have been some depression issues there, but I don't know, allegedly.
Oh no,
So,
he's overcome that
um,
stuff. He's overcome it.
oh,
Um, I know you're trying to be PC, but I won't be. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna kick a man while he's down. But no, I thought it was impressive. He had something on Instagram overcoming, some personal demons that he had. I thought it was super impressive, but I don't know. I'm a fan of their gimmick, a huge fan. I don't even know if Mike Bennett's that great in the ring, but them two can be the Miz and Maurice of SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a tacky gimmick. It's so
lar-
prom. Do you know what I
larger
mean?
than life.
Yeah, yeah. It's uh it's so prom, and their song is so almost eighth grade dance, where you have the boys on one side, girls on the other, but then you have this couple that's in the middle that loves each other so much, and he takes her last name. I just think that the gimmick could be something that catches on. One thing I think that SmackDown is I know we talked about Oscar, us wanting Oscar to go to SmackDown, but one thing I've noticed lately is SmackDown has so much talent. I don't know if they planned it this way or if people just became very good that they don't have enough time on TV because it's only 2 hours to show all that talent. So I mean, think about it. This week it was a struggle to even get Ty Dillinger on TV. I just asked where Mike Bennett's been. Who knows? And I mean, I don't know. I think SmackDown has all this talent. And what Shinsuke and Nakamura and Bobby Roode weren't even on SmackDown? Like, you're so talented of a roster, which is amazing. Time for a lot of different people. Is that bad or good for SmackDown in the long run?
I think it could be good. It just depends on how do you actually use them. And they used to have a rotation, like a very subtle rotation, especially in the tag team side of the house, where the tag teams, like every tag team would make some type of an appearance every other week. And I think that they were doing that with the singles wrestlers. I mean, some of them obviously just didn't show up for like a couple of weeks, like Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger did. But it looks like now they're giving Ty Dillinger more face time on TV while scaling back on Zayn. The tag team right now is at a stalemate, and I can't really understand. I don't think it's a cycling issue. I think that they have a pretty big promo coming up for them, but I'm just going out on a limb. I'm assuming that they're going to wait closer to SummerSlam to start a program with the tag teams.
Well, I mean, Aiden English has been getting TV time lately, and on the tag team front, it's been Usos versus New Day for several months now. And I got to give those guys props. Like, if you're fighting the same guys over and over and over and over, it is difficult to have an entertaining match. Dude, those guys, when I watched SmackDown this week, I got pumped knowing, oh man, the Usos and the New Day are fighting. I gotta see this. Like, man, those guys can do almost anything. And New Day got the titles back. So does it mean, do you think they're in a stalemate? And do you think they had the New Day win? New Day being really super over faces. Because, it's a tag team. They were in NXT. They just lost the titles. That happened to be heel. Do you think the AOP can show up on SmackDown? Because if you notice, Asuka lost a title She didn't. They didn't follow the traditional formula, which is if you're in NXT and lose a title, you're going to the main roster in a week. Asuka was injured and she's going to be on Raw, but they're hyping up the announcement. The AOP, they haven't been on NXT, so we haven't heard anything from them since. So, is there a chance the AOP ends up on SmackDown?
I think those are the guys who the fashion police office or attacked them. And for whatever reason, they're still not they haven't been in NXT since they lost the belts at all, and I don't think they're going to be either. The landscape in NXT is completely different, so I do think AOP is going to surface. They will be on SmackDown, but I wanted to, since we're on the topic of rematches, this is definitely something I've wanted to ask you. Do you think these automatic rematch clauses is a good thing for the product, man? Like case in example, Alexa Bliss defends her title. She's reigned supreme for 3+ months. She loses it to Sasha. Obviously, she's going to get a rematch. That was my Alexa, so I got to make sure I get say. I'm gonna have to say Bliss instead of Alexa. Okay.
Wow, that
So
was awesome.
Bliss loses her title. She should, she's been champ for 3+ months. It's conceivable that she should get a rematch. She beats Sasha for her rematch clause. Why should Sasha get another title shot when she just lost it? I mean, she only had it for one day. Does that make a lick of sense?
No, not really. And I only say that because they should implement, but you shouldn't say it out loud because people don't need to try to understand this. You get an instant rematch clause if you've had it for 2 weeks or more. You can go into, no, it's my rematch. No, it's your rematch. No, it's my rematch. A million different times. And I'm like, no. I think the instant rematch clause is okay because it's been wrestling for so long, but not keeping in mind consistency. Literally, I could pin you for the title today. You beat me tomorrow. I beat you the next day. You beat me the next day, and vice versa. But us just keep enacting rematch clauses. But it doesn't. Luckily, I don't mind it only because it doesn't end up. You don't really see feuds except for with I think it was Charlotte and Sasha, where they did the Iron Woman match. But you don't often see feuds that last a year or longer with women just cashing in their rematch clause, or men for that fact. I mean, they end up maybe switching it once or twice, and then you have a definitive winner at some random pay-per-view. But I could definitely see your point. If I beat you, but I had the title for 10 hours, you beat me, and you had the title for 7 months. Nah, but I get a rematch clause. Like I could definitely see your point.
Yeah, I just think that something's got to be done about that, man. Like, if you know that there's going to be a rematch, then the win should be tainted instead of a clean finish. But I digress. That's me, man. When we going to talk about this burial of Enzo Amore, man? Because I've been dying to talk about it.
All right. Enzo Amore will, true or false? Enzo Amore will be a manager by the end of 2018.
Enzo Amore will be unemployed by April 13th, 2018.
Good call. I like that solid pick. You're going with
Mm-hmm.
that ruthless aggression. You son of a bitch. Going with that ruthless aggression. I love it.
It just when the Miz is cutting the promo on you, son, and can we talk about those licks that that Curtis Axel put on Enzo. Yo,
Oh, yeah, Enzo
yo,
got wrecked.
some of those
But he
hits,
held his
man.
own. He held his own though. He can
Yeah, he
go on the
did.
mic. He held his own. Anybody else would have been like, "Oh yeah, Maurice, Miz, but well, you're not awesome, and I'm gonna beat you tonight." And it would flop terrible. But Enzo held his own. I'll give him credit. I think he's legit gonna be a manager in the future.
He held his own in the ring, but he got exposed on the mic, bro.
No, because you can't say he got exposed because we talked the other week about how Enzo is what, your number 4 on the mic?
Yeah, he was number 4 on the mic when he had Big Cass, but
No, but
yo,
if you're number
he
4 in the WWE and you're losing to, we agreed last week or on the show 2 weeks ago before we went through buying all the new equipment. Whoop, I didn't mean to spoil that. You said Miz was number 1. We both agreed, and Enzo I think was number 4 behind Cena and maybe somebody and Kevin Owens. 4 losing to a number 1's fine. I wouldn't say exposed if somebody are you really truly exposed if somebody's better than you at something? Did you get exposed if somebody's better than you at something?
I so when I say exposed, I mean like I wasn't expecting him to try to cut a promo on on the Miz, but I did expect him to come back with something more meaningful than
I see.
crying on the mic. Like, I mean, it just it just seemed just like he was not given anything to come back with, and he just struggled to try to do it on his own. And whether they did that on purpose, I felt that that's only contributing to the ribbing that he's been getting for the last couple of weeks.
I see. I see what you're saying.
So I think he's being exposed on the mic for everything he's got, man. I don't know what hold what's in store for Enzo Amore, but if something doesn't change quick, man, he's going to get promoted to customer by April.
So we had a good week in wrestling. Just overall, we had a really good week. We had the Mae Young Classic final, good Raw, good SmackDown. We've got about another week before we hit No Mercy, which we'll be doing our No Mercy predictions on next week's show, which should be a good, pretty action-packed show. Did you want to get into some shout-outs? Should we get into some shout-outs this week?
Yeah, let's get into some shout outs.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, first and foremost, guys, want to thank Stephen Dash for joining us live. Even though I don't agree that Shawn Michaels is the greatest superstar of all time, that's what's so great about being in the community. So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and thank Anthony Valentin for the recent follows. We got a Hammy Reviews. We got Hip Hop Quotes. We've got Mark Podolowski. We've got Josh and Stu Podcast at Josh and Stu Podcast on Twitter. Y'all go check him out. We got Mistress Sandonos. Man, I'm gonna slaughter this, man. Y'all go check him out. The Chancellor, Cancellire. We've got Ochikowu Benjamin, which you've got no tweets in 100. You a bot, man. I'm gonna have to. Yep, make
bot,
sure you
bot. Kill him, kill him, kill him. You stupid.
that.
Actually, wait, no, because when bots follow us, it makes us look better. But y'all don't follow the
This
bot.
is true. Yeah, don't
The
follow the
noob
bot.
side bot.
We've got RA Era Podcast at RA Era Podcast. They follow us on Instagram, but also they just recently followed us on Twitter. So thank you so much. TSCM at TSC Wrestling Mag on Twitter. We got Bobby B Wrestling. We've got the Andrew Bello at WWPN Bello. Thank you so much. And I want to also give a special shout out to all of our new subscribers to the podcast. Thank you so much. We've gotten, about 10 or 15 since the last week. So thank you so much for joining us. But do us a favor. Let us know that you're subscribed to the podcast. Hit us up either on Instagram or on Twitter by using the hashtag IRWP. Let it be known that you know listen, that you like the show, or give us some feedback. Also, remember, we got a contest going on, guys. You know, September's about it. We got like 2 weeks left until the September part of the contest is over. And all you got to do to win a copy of WWE 2K18 is just a screenshot that you're subscribed to the audio podcast and use the hashtag IRWP. You can post that on Instagram or on Twitter. Just use that hashtag IRWP. And I think that's about it. And y'all make sure to check out those reviews, the Mae Young Classic reviews that we got on Twitter. And I think we have a phone number and email address, but I can't remember them, Goose.
Yeah, you guys, and this is normally the part where I tell you guys to keep it real, keep it gangster, keep it straight up G. But no, Sage and Mark, he just mentioned the Mae Young Classic. Guys, I'm telling you, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it more than you could ever imagine. The reviews are coming up. Sage had some great insights. We both agreed on a lot of things. I binge watched it this past Monday. We're recording this episode the week of September, well, the week of the finals, Mae Young. So we had a great chance to watch it. Hit us up. We do have a phone number. It's a phone number we do answer if we're available at the moment. You're either going to get Sage Mark or you're going to get myself. Probably be a guest. We could care less. You could come on the show, or if you just want to leave us a voicemail, people have. The phone number is 419-777-4797. That's a lot of sevens. That's why we did it, so it's easy to remember. 419-777-4797. That's 419-777-IRWP. You see how we did that? You see how we did that, right?
That's pretty slick, bro. That's pretty slick.
You set it up, so I got to give you credit. But hit us up. The fastest way to hit us up at the moment, if you have questions, definitely feel free to give us a call, leave voicemail if you want. Easiest way to hit us up, definitely on social media. We respond to everything, DMs, tweets, retweets. If you have a podcast, a wrestling podcast or non-wrestling podcast that you just want to give, let us give some credit to or some kudos. We're all small. We're all down to help each other out. Let us know. Definitely do that for you. But in the meantime, just enjoy wrestling. A lot of negative stuff going on in the world. Just enjoy the positive. You have to remember that. Nothing else other than to tell you guys to keep it real.
Keep it real, guys. And don't bang the dillies.